back, spawn of Satan.
Oh, really?
Oh my goodness, it feels so fucking good to be back. It is the glorious, glorious return of the Backyard Horror Barbecue, and I got somebody special with me this evening. Yes, I do, all the way from his crypt and the graveyard is Mortimer Deadfellow.
Evening, all. Pleased to be here.
Yes. What's up, Cody? What's up, Lizzie? Hi. Rebecca's probably somewhere in there. Cody says this intro is so heavy. Yeah, that's my brothers up in Massachusetts, known as Leather Lung. They are a sludge band from New England, and they fucking rock. I love them. But I also knew I wouldn't get stinged for it by using their music. But it's so good to be back. It's been a minute. We've all been filming films and doing stuff. So we are pleased to be here. What do we have for him tonight, Mr. Deadfellow?
Well, we have the best ghost horror films of all time.
We're counting down our list of what we consider to be the top 10 because let's fucking face it, everybody. There's a shit ton of fantastic ghost horror movies that have come out in the last 40, 50 years. Let's be real. But I think we've really picked some good ones, and we invite you, all the addicts out there in the comment section, to please let us know a few that you feel are at the top of this particular genre of horror as we start to go through them. But before we get into all this ethereal ghostliness, we're going to take a quick commercial break to our brothers in the UK across the pond, known as Poison Valley Scareware. Check that shit out. If you are ready to get some of the best original hand-drawn horror art on t-shirts, hoodies, and beanies, and everything else that you can fucking think of, go to poisonvalleyscareware.com and get yourself a high-quality horror shirt. He also does custom orders. So if you have an idea, chances are this motherfucker can put it together for you. So, and be looking for him this coming Friday on Reaper's Underground as he's joining us from over across the pond there to talk about all of his new line of scareware. Awesome. What's up, Kyler? It must be his day off. Welcome back, sir. Welcome back. So good to have you. All right. We are going to just dive right into the world, and I actually call it the art of a good ghost story film. Let's go ahead and kind of break it down for them a little bit before we go through our picks. So basically, now this is just me. Everybody's different. We're in the era of, oh, the jump scare, oh, the jump scare, oh, the jump scare. That shit is so tired. Nobody wants that. I mean, I guess you kind of have to have a jump scare, though. But as long as something disgustingly, evilly brutal happens in the process, then to me that jump scare was fucking worth it. Don't just have a hand come out of the shadows. I can put my hand out of a shadow. Mortimer over there can put his hand out of a shadow. Doesn't mean it's going to be, a guaranteed scare. We love the creepy factor. These are some of the things that the two of us are going to be rating on these films that we're going to be discussing and how they fit into our categories for them. So obviously, scariness, brutal, special effects, also very super important, and then of course overall cinematography. All right. I'm going to go ahead and let Brother Deadfellow here kick us off.
Really? All right. I would have to say The Lady in White, 1988, would be my first pick. This film, for me, gives you a ghost story in a way that isn't normally the way that it's delivered. It's more than just the story of the spirit, but the spirit guides you to the real story and to the truth, but through the eyes of a child. And for me, that you don't get that too often in ghost stories. Even kids are the ones that want to get the spooks and the scares. They don't usually get to be the ones to tell you their feelings on what they're going through. And that definitely for me is one of those ones that showcases that.
Absolutely.
And ambiance, like you were saying, setting, feeling like there's something supernatural outside the window. That film was very good at making it feel like that world was just out of reach.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I definitely agree with Lizzie here. She says jump scares are fine, but I prefer to be unnerved. And that's really the secret there. It's an unsettling feeling.
Exactly.
And it's like just peering into darkness without any light and just not knowing what could be in there. That's kind of that unnerving feeling. I remember seeing this one, but it's been so fucking long. Since
it is one of those ones that flies under the radar, even though like one of the main like actresses in the film is Mona from Who's the Boss.
Right.
and the young
now that I remember.
And the young boy that is the main character, he's been in several different movies throughout the years.
Yep.
Major films too, but it's big like ones. This movie for some reason falls through the cracks.
I don't know if it's because people fell in love with those two actors in their respective what they're known for kind of thing. Sometimes when you take someone who's known as an action star or known as a big drama actor, and suddenly you stick them in a horror movie, and it's like, well, does he really fit or does she really fit? It's a completely different thing. And I think a lot of those big actors of the 80s were trying to challenge themselves because, actors like a lot of different genres and not just the one that they work the most in. So for them to kind of step out and do something spooky dooky, I thought it was pretty well done.
Yeah.
And I also think that this particular one has influenced with M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's Sixth Sense.
I would have to agree with that. It has that feeling to me and that aspect for how he likes to do his storytelling, especially his ghost stories. But I agree with you on that completely. Yeah, it has that vibe to it. really does. And it's like you didn't get that feeling too much in those type of films.
No.
When you should have, because it's a ghost story. You should feel, oh, what was that sound?
Right.
Floorboards creaking. I'm in the house by myself. You know, those aspects that set up the scare of a ghost story. And this one did it in some unconventional ways at times, but completely hit the mark of just chilling you to the bone and not even being completely brutal or graphic, really.
No, that's true.
But it is in times if you're looking at through the eyes of an innocent kid.
Right.
It's
Which that's always
it.
makes for real good level of spookiness.
Exactly.
I agree with that.
That's why it's my first choice, or my first one.
And I think it had the perfect balance between music that only amplified what was going on. See, back in the 80s, they had it right. The music was way down here, but you could hear it, and it just kind of slowly,
Like
starts to pick up. And
like
and sometimes it's the absence of music, and all you're hearing is the natural sound of whatever room they're in, house they're in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man,
yeah, very much so. Yes,
I definitely would give this one, I would say probably about a 4.2 out of 5. Cinematography, banging. Yeah. And again, there wasn't much about, the 80s that I didn't love, that grainy, gritty VHS.
Oh, yeah, I know. It very much has that You're in a Ghost Story.
Yeah.
The fall leaves, the cold winds, that got to put a sweater on. It's starting to get cold.
Yeah, well, and the directors knew what kinds of exterior places and time of year that you want to shoot it, so you get that effect. And a lot of these are actually shot mainly in the fall back in those days. And I think that was literally on purpose, but it also fit with the story too.
Very much so. Very much so. It's almost like Lost Boys did, by being with the shore and the cliff. It fit with vampires, that's their cave. It
literally.
Fit. Same thing with this. The setting fit the story great, amazingly.
Yes, absolutely. Looks like Cody is offering up his first one. His first pick is The Haunting from '99. I remember that one. Kind of revolutionary in the way of CGI, taking parts of the interior of this massive set that they were on. I believe it may actually be a real mansion. I'm not sure.
Parts of it but parts of it, like you were saying, was full sets that they recreated specifically to do what you were saying. The VF effects on that film are
first rate.
Yeah, by far. Yeah.
I think Haunted Mansion would have never been as good as it was if it wasn't for how they did the ghost effects.
Very much so. Very much so.
Stellar cast, too.
100%, because most of those effects are still the same.
Yeah.
Because they work.
Mm-hmm.
But like for Cody with The Haunting, the original one is, to me, in parts even scarier than the remake.
Right.
Because it's just audio. It's just, you don't really get anything. You get the sounds of a house coming to life.
Yeah.
And it's unnerving, but the 1999 one was more visually, you got to see it happen in front of you, which would be, granted, unnerving as well.
It was a lot more physical.
Yeah, it was a good film. Good one.
Excellent choice, brother.
Yes, very much so.
Lizzie says, unexpected actors in horror thrillers are the best. Not a ghost movie, but Robin Williams in 1 Hour Photo fucked me up. That's because Robin Williams
is an amazing actor.
The truly jack of all trades, all different sides of psychological behavior. I always made the joke. I was like, Robin Williams probably be a fucking fantastic serial killer.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And it's like 1 Hour Photo. I know that he played a killer in SVU.
Oh yeah,
And he got
that's right.
around. A lot of them got to dip their toes into that dark world by playing characters like Martin Short and people like that, being comedy
Yeah,
actors that wouldn't have gotten that chance to dip into the darkness.
definitely. For my first pick, I'm gonna go with, since we were just talking about how a house comes to life, as it were, and I'm taking us way back. I'm taking us back to 1979.
Oh, that's young.
There is one house that is so synonymous with horror, more so than Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, you name it. There's one house that definitely is all kinds of wrong. And anyone that goes in it can be possessed and recreate this murder that happened from a former house owner. It's actually a real house and it's based on its lore. And I'm talking about the Amityville Horror. This film had, again, you had Margot Kidder, James Brolin, two icons of actors in those times playing fun stuff, serious stuff, and here they are bringing the story, the lore of the Amityville Horror House to life. Just from seeing that beaconing red glow in the basement behind the bricks.
Yeah.
Every time you saw it, you knew something wasn't right, or the old school furnace suddenly would start blowing big flames, and just watching psychologically this poor guy who is obviously there with his family and his kids,
Right.
and he's being plagued by this evil force, which, you know, in my
That's
opinion, is very much negativity or negative energy that had manifested. Of course, you know, they spruce it up for
Oh, of course.
for Hollywood, but I mean, it brought about a tale that you just, ooh,
Well,
boy.
and couldn't get away from. It's lasted for years,
Mm-mm.
years and years past the actual.
Oh yeah, how many fucking sequels?
7, 8. I mean, well, how many movies inspired by or tied to?
Exactly, the spin-offs.
Exactly.
I mean,
I
in
don't think
indie
American
horror, we
Horror
have
Story
what?
would have happened without Amityville.
Yeah.
I really don't.
And then of course we have the fun ones in the indie horror world, where you have, you know, Amityville Shark, Amityville Halloween, any number of Amityvilles that, you know, turned out to be
Take
very
your
fun
shot
films.
to tell your story.
Exactly. So it's like, you know, this film has had such an impression on the genre, and I think it's one of the best ghost stories to come out of that year, to be perfectly honest.
Oh yeah, no. It you can't argue with its numbers. You can't argue with its impact
The
and its lasting
auditory,
ability. Yeah,
mhm,
you can't argue with it on really any of those factors for being a prolific ghost story film.
mhm.
You can't.
the
Even if you don't
the
like it, you can't.
I mean, the first thing we think of is the priest who's in that room, and then there's this demonic voice that says, "Get out!"
Yeah.
and all the flies, and I
Yeah.
mean, that's iconic in the horror genre. I absolutely love those moments, and
Right.
like I said, watching James Brolin lose control, and he's fighting it, he's trying to fight it, but he ends up going after his family, and you know,
Right.
but in the end, he's the one that gets the rough end of the stick. Poor guy.
Right. Which is kind of nods in a way to Shining. A little bit.
Very
Little
much
bit.
so. Well, and I think what made it, well, shit, now that I think about it, you have the Amityville Horror and then you have The Shining, both based on haunted places.
Yep.
So, yeah, but one a little different than the other. I
Oh,
kind of
very much so. Yeah. No, I would agree that they're definitely different animals, but it's interesting because I'd never thought of that connection there myself. And until then.
See what happens? It's a first for us here, Morgrot
Yeah.
universe. I mean, that's so fucking true.
Yeah.
So
Great pick. That's a great choice.
definitely, and just so many different moments, things that when from the stairs stacking themselves, or the chairs stacking themselves, and like I said, I really love the psychological aspect.
Oh, very much so.
Somebody being possessed by this energy,
right? Yeah, because how are they going to act? You can't write it down unless you envision somebody going through something like that.
Yeah,
which would be horrific.
Cody brings up a pretty good point. He says, I like the Ryan Reynolds version of it as well. The one thing that I will say that is different there, in my opinion, is the more of the practicality effects from the original, to me, were more terrifying than its remake.
No, yeah, I agree on that end. If you can stay practical, you'll keep that grittiness, that realness. If it looks too overproduced, then am I watching a horror film or am I watching Transformers?
And I mean, it's fucking Ryan Reynolds. He's the guy that makes us laugh.
Exactly, and I can understand that because I've seen a film with him that was actually pretty. Voiceless.
I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, where Ryan Reynolds is crazy in that movie.
I think it's called Seven Voices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it's like that will show you Ryan Reynolds like you've never seen him before.
Oh, yeah.
Like truly. Yeah. But it's like
and his acting is fantastic. I'm not taking away anything of his acting ability at all.
Oh, yeah. No. I mean, but as too, as I was saying for Cody, for the remake, well, one of the remakes it's the same. If they would have went more with the practical effects, I would have enjoyed that more.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He also brings up a second pick ahead of us. Gotta love it. A Haunting in Connecticut.
Another one based off of a true event.
That's right.
Yep.
The Hanging Tree.
Yeah.
That shit was nuts.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Well, that one's also tied to the house with the mortuary. That was a mortuary.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
They bought it right out from underneath me. Couldn't get it. Yeah.
That sucks. That would have been badass. I would love to live in one of those.
Oh, I've been here for years.
Nice.
I'm preserved well.
Exactly. I just come out of the abyss every now and again.
Okay. It's always good to dip in the darkness.
That's right.
Keeps us fit.
What is your next pick, sir?
I would have to go with The Fog. John Carpenter, Jamie Lee Curtis, Adrienne Barbeau. Okay, I'm a dead man, and I'm happy about that.
Yeah. It's like I said, you were not alive and not a horror fan if you don't remember Adrienne Barbeau from this film alone. If you didn't even see her in Swamp Thing, this film right here, Jamie Lee is, I mean, she just got off doing fucking Halloween.
Exactly. Fire. We're fresh off of that with her mother, being directed yet again by John Carpenter.
Right.
And tells a ghost story that you would never think that was a ghost story at first. That is a spectral manifestation that literally comes from the sea to take over an entire town. How many ghost stories have that?
None. And
it's John Carpenter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's John Carpenter. It's one of the masters. Exactly.
I mean, he must have used 4 tons of fog machine.
People must have reeked of the fog juice.
But
an amazing film.
Just from the campfire scene in the beginning with John. Oh crap! I can't remember his name. But he was the guy who every show wanted him to narrate because of his amazing voice.
Oh yes. Yes.
I'm looking it up right now. So you can go ahead and talk about the film.
Well, the thing for me was that is it's like I'm very much a fan of the ghost story of the campfire ghost story.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that Carpenter took that and took the legend and everything of this town and all the stuff involving the forefathers of it and everything was also like the sins of the fathers to the children. And it's like, oh, what does prosperity really cost you at the end of the day, and all these different things. And it was just the way he blended it all together. He always tells so much more than just a horror movie.
Jonathan Houseman.
Ah, yes. But it's exactly, it's like when you have a really good ghost story in the hands of a master, you're going to get blown away.
Yes.
And cast to boot.
Yeah, I mean, the cast is first fucking rate. I mean, you also have Tommy Lee Wallace, Tom Atkins, who unfortunately is no longer with us, if I remember correctly. Just amazing talents. And I mean, fucking spectral ghosts that are pirates and bloodthirsty pirates at that, in search of what was stolen from them.
Some were some very dear friends of mine.
Oh man, I used to, after I watched that movie as a kid, I saw it for the first time. We have a big sliding glass door at the back of my parents' home, and anytime I would see fog, I'd be like, I'm turning around, going back to my room. See ya.
That's like, I don't need to be here for this.
No, I don't want to hear the tap, tap, tap.
Let me in.
No, that's okay. Yeah. And that poor kid's grandmother. Oh, I felt so bad for her. He's begging her not to open the. Oh man, that was one of the most tense fucking moments. I'm like, I don't want to see, Nana get taken out. Oh, come on! My heart could barely take it as a kid.
It has moments like that. It did have some gripping terror, especially for a younger viewer. It definitely
big time. Yeah.
Without going gore crazy though either.
There wasn't a whole lot of gore, but the kills were very prolific. I mean, they were using swords.
I think a lot of it was what you didn't see.
Yep.
What wasn't shown, your mind filled in the blanks worse than anything John Carpenter could have shown you.
And you felt that shit.
Oh, very much so. Even today, it's all of them got replay value by far, especially his films.
Oh, nothing against the newer version. The newer version was cool, but they changed some shit.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah.
And in my opinion, it was the appearance of the people that were on the ship. They weren't pirates,
right?
It was like a fucking cult.
Well, it was to that point. They were survivors from a leper colony.
That's it. Yeah.
And they
called them a cult.
Well, they were called ghosts later, but
right.
Yeah, no, they paid the town folk to be able to have a place to live, and
they
turn on them.
Mm-hmm.
And you look at it like that, how would you pay them back?
With their very lives, very much so.
There you go. It's like you feel for a minute. You feel for the ghost.
Yeah. It's like, but they weren't scary to me. You can see behind us a picture of the lead pirate, and they all had these red glowing eyes.
Yeah. You can't tell how they initially looked. Yeah, that's very much true.
It's like you can kind of see what they look like, but you can't because they're in total darkness. But those red piercing eyes, those glowing eyes,
that's all you need to know.
Brilliant.
Yeah, he had set the mood and the feeling and the intensity that you needed to feel when you saw them.
Yeah, definitely.
And it worked. It worked.
Well, John Carpenter's kind of the master of these things.
He knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, My next pick, I mean, you can't have a show dedicated to ghost horror films and not talk about the most fun one of all. And of course, it took 40 fucking years to get a sequel. But I mean, it's the 10,000-pound elephant in the room. Fucking Beetlejuice, man. It was creepy. It's the first time in the 80s that creepy became cool. Literally everyone who hated horror films for the most part couldn't stand slashers because they're all the same, blah, blah, blah. Couldn't say shit about this film at all because it was so fucking different. Yeah. The amount of practical effects with a little bit of, the CG computer technology that they had at the time really made this thing pop. I mean, so many dead people on the other side, and they're all like they're in an office building. I mean, you never seen anything like that.
Yeah, when if you die, you become a social worker. Pretty much. But exactly though, seeing the Neither World and like there's a waiting line in a lobby that you got to wait in line to figure out where you're going or what your job's going to be or what house you're going to haunt.
Night, Cody.
Cody. But that's the thing is it's like you're right. It's like it was a whole different take on being dead to begin with.
It made being dead cool.
Yeah, I mean, at least if you're Beetlejuice, that, it's like,
oh, how much fun, and the dark humor. To me, it's one of the biggest staple films of having dark humor. I
think it's become a staple Halloween film too.
Oh, big time! Oh, big time! Yeah,
it's definitely a film that gets watched repeatedly during the Halloween season.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, and especially now with the Beetlejuice,
right?
Got everybody going back to this one, and it's like, oh, does it hold up? And it's like, yeah, it holds up.
Yeah, and it was really fucked up how much hate the critics gave it. I thought that was fucking stupid.
Well, that happens on people with critics when they, with the director or actors or a cast go beyond what they think is something that should or could be pulled off.
Yeah.
And then it goes past them. They can't see the vision. And then look how much praise Tim Burton gets now and millions of dollar budgets he gets. Oh, because they think he's going to mess it up? I don't think so.
No, he delivers literally.
Exactly. He delivers, and he especially delivers with actors that he understands. And how many films has Tim Burton done with Michael Keaton? Batman, and it's like, but it's like his Beetlejuice too, though. You also had people that I think really enjoyed their parts.
That's the thing. They were having a blast.
Exactly.
And I mean,
and it shows.
Michael Keaton was so fucking smooth as this character. Like it was just normal for him all the way down to the crazy voice, his rhythm of delivering lines. Unholy fuck. He would spout some shit off that you were just like, how the fuck did he do all that? You get sucked into this world. So I had to go with that as my.
No, very much. I understand that. It's like when you're sitting there watching the film and then it's like, we've come for your daughter, Chuck. And it's like.
I say that all year round.
Stuff like that.
Moments.
Or it's like, I attended Juilliard. I lived through the Black Plague and had a pretty good time during that. I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keeps getting funnier every single time I see it. Not to mention the fact that you're talking to a dead guy. So what do you think? You're qualified.
Right.
But it's like, Michael Keaton's deliveries, he sold every one line 100 times fold.
Yeah, I don't think anyone else could have pulled it off.
I agree. And now I can't think of anybody really that could have done it the way Keaton does it. It's like It's a natural character. It's like an old friend from college that he meets. Again, it's like, oh, there's Beetlejuice. Get over here. Come on. Yeah.
Come on over, man.
right? Want to get nuts? Come on. So
and then 4 years later, or 40 years later, he can still do it.
Because Beetlejuice is here.
Yeah, it really
That's
is.
what it is. The Beetlejuice is there, But very good choice, though. Very much so. Iconic film.
Hell
and
yeah.
not thought at times. People forget that it's a ghost film.
Right?
But it's like the whole point. They die at the very beginning of the movie. Spoiler. That's the whole point of the film.
Yeah.
It's the whole beginning part. But people lose contact with that sometimes and just, what's Beetlejuice? He's the ghost with the most.
Yeah, he's not a demon. I've heard so many people speculate on this that he's the incarnation of Beelzebub in satanic lore.
Right?
Is the Lord of Mischief and all this shit. I'm just sitting here going, you guys are looking way too deep into this. He is a fucking dead guy, and he's naughty. He's enjoying it. He has found a way to enjoy the afterlife.
Yep, I completely agree. He's just that dude that is gross, knows he bothers people, and leans into it because it entertains him.
He loves it. Yeah, it's fun
he
for
thinks
him.
It's funny. Yeah, he's having a great time. You're the rest of them, But I think if he was like omnipotent powered, he wouldn't be trapped by the three name or saying his name 3 times.
Yep.
Because that kind of limits the chaos he can really do. But
yeah, absolutely.
Still, the ghost was the most. Right.
Your next pick.
My next pick would be Poltergeist 2.
I accidentally grabbed the first one. My bad.
That is fine. The first one, I didn't pick the first one solely for one reason. Because of Reverend Cain.
Okay,
because his impact in that film, and also too, he is a ghost, is almost more iconic than what the first one did.
I would say you're right there, except for there were very iconic scenes.
Oh, very much so.
In that first one that are fucking staples.
But he's the same spirit. It's just people don't think that the same one that was messing with him in the first house is Reverend Cain. It's the same guy. But you don't get to truly see it until the second one.
Yeah.
And everybody did amazing. Will Sampson, Craig Nelson, everybody, Heather O'Rourke, everybody did great. They did amazing in it. I loved it.
You instantly fell in love with this family. This poor family. They're so happy they just moved into this beautiful house. It's a beautiful neighborhood. No one told them that that was built on top of where all these poor folk were buried. Also
based off another true fact.
Yeah.
In Crosby, Texas, was a graveyard, and they only removed the headstones and then built a subdivision on top of it.
Yeah, that's real fucking smart.
Yeah, and
you're just asking for
Mysteries did an entire whole series on it. Yep.
Fuck yeah. We could definitely do a segment, I think, sometime on here of the true legends behind
quite a bit,
the myths and stuff. I think that would be a blast.
Easily.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, and the world fell in love with Carol Ann.
Oh, very much so.
That little girl was so sweet and so
innocent. It was the purity and the innocence of her. You felt so bad that this little girl was having to go through this, and these evil things were coming after her when she didn't deserve it at all.
No, I don't. And no child does,
Of course, exactly. But even more for her, it comes off to where she wouldn't hurt a fly. She like pure innocence, and that's what made Cain Water so bad. You were pure light, when they had nothing. All they had was
evil
death.
Son of a bitch, man. He was something else. But from the very first moment that she said, "They're here," it sent a chill down your spine that was like, ooh,
Well, it's
this
like
is not going to go well.
well, with Julian Beck, the actor that played Reverend Kane, he was battling stomach cancer the entire time that he was filming it.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, and literally died like I think 6 months before the movie premiered. So Reverend Kane was his final performance.
Oh my!
And that's
goodness.
why he looks so gaunt and so
Oh,
frightened. He put everything into it. That's why he's so terrifying. Because that was his lasting acting performance was Reverend Kane.
Oh my goodness!
Let me in.
Right.
No.
Literally, let me in.
Yeah, and it's like he did amazing, and it's like everybody in that did amazing, and like I said, it was no knock on the first film.
Yeah,
it's just for me the impact of finally getting to see the person that had been tormenting this family from the other side. You finally got to put a face behind the villain.
It connected a lot of dots.
Yeah, but I love the original too. That one is another film just like Amityville that had to be mentioned. Poltergeist had to be in the discussion.
Absolutely. Excellent film. Great choice. Lizzie concurs, very quotable. She says, gotta love it when a sequel can stand with the original. Absolutely.
That's true.
Both Beetlejuice, and the sequel to Poltergeist, both stand up very well against each other. Although the second one, I have to absolutely 1,000% agree that it was dark as fuck.
Yeah, they turned it up. They definitely turned it up, even as dark as the first one really was.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you only got to see the beginning of what the paranormal problems were going to be for that family.
Oh yeah, and here you think the house disappears and life's good, right?
Right.
Like, we're here to tell you a different tale.
Yep. No. Once they saw her light and felt her power, Kane was going to lead them right to her.
Mm-hmm.
Right to her.
And most of his followers felt real bad about it too, but not him.
Yeah. Oh no, not at all. Not at all.
Especially when they turn on him.
Right. Exactly.
Definitely a 5 out of 5 for me on that one.
Oh yes, very much
across the board. Story, practicality, cinematography,
cast, effects, everything. Yeah.
Oh,
yep. Still stands up to
this
day.
First fucking rate.
Yep.
Well, now I'm going to start to turn up the juice, as it were, with my next pick. No pun intended. This was a come out from out of nowhere, unholy fuck of a ghost film, starring two major A-list actors that you never, ever, ever would have thought would have been in a film like this. Well, I can't say that about Michelle Pfeiffer because she was also in Wolf with Jack Nicholson. But Harrison Ford delivers the ultimate, you don't know what I did, I'm making you feel like you're insane, nothing ever happened, and you get what lies beneath.
Another guy. Very good.
I mean, talk about men who cheat.
Right.
For whatever reason. And why is it always a college professor? Just saying.
That is true. That is true, actually, a lot. It usually is a college professor. Of
Always. And those bastards never get caught. They don't
or
get
Michael
fired.
Douglas.
Or, well, yeah. Right.
No, yeah, but this
well, yeah, we thought shit was off the fucking charts when Michael Douglas did Fatal Attraction. I mean, that was a hell of a thriller, right?
Oh,
well,
very much so.
I mean, he got to fight his attacker, head on, like with no problem. But in this case, Harrison Ford decides to spread a little fertilizer there,
right?
With a college assistant, and kills her. tries to cover the whole fucking thing up because she was threatening to tell his wife everything. And, she had gotten into a car wreck the night that she would have found out what happened, but she ends up getting amnesia. So here she is putting pieces together little by little because the ghost of this poor young lady is leading her to finding out what actually happened to her.
Yeah. Yes, very much so. Yeah, no, I enjoyed that aspect of it in ways, because it's like one of the first ghosts.
I was like, good for you.
Well, that's like one of the first ghost things ever recorded in history. I believe was in ancient Greece.
Ah.
And it was literally a ghost story, but it was a ghost that kept waking this person up to lead them to a spot to tell them to dig. And then they finally did and found the corpse of the person who used to live in the house that had been murdered. And the person literally was found guilty by ghost. Because the ghost led them to, this is the person that killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was, thousands of years ago.
Yeah, right.
And it's like,
it's not a new concept.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so. Revenge from the grave.
Yeah, I mean, you literally have everything in here. You've got doors that close by themselves. You have, her, being led to the back lake of the house and is driven by a lock of this girl's hair. I mean, that was a brilliant scene. You don't know what's down there, and she's just soaring through the water like a speedboat. I'm sitting there going, fucking hell. And then she gets momentarily possessed by this girl to antagonize the cheater. And Harrison Ford, I got to give it to him. He played a maniacal bastard very well.
Oh, yes, very much so. Indiana Jones put on his I'm a not nice guy hat.
He sure did.
Yeah, he really did. And he leaned into it, too.
In a very, and like we used that word before, unnerving way. Because as he starts to go, okay, the cat's out of the bag, it's party time.
Yeah,
and he thinks he's so fucking smooth. Drugs her with that one prototype thing that they were working on. Totally numbs her. And I'll tell you what, nothing was more unnerving than her slowly getting back movement. She's able to feel her feet. He's got her in the tub. He's going to drown her, make it look like a suicide. I don't want to throw too much of the story away.
No, I get you on that one. But
I don't know. I was passionate about this one because I was like, the sons of bitches never get caught. Well, this one got caught and then some.
Exactly. Well, that's a great pick. That's a great one.
Hell yeah.
And you don't get to see the women get revenge all the time.
You don't, especially from the grave.
Especially from the grave, yeah. 100%.
It's the biggest fuck you ever.
Yeah, very much
so. Lizzie says, wait a minute. Dude, what? Now I'm certain I haven't seen it yet. Just the spoof scenes. Yes, because when she gets momentarily possessed, her face changes to the young lady that he killed. And they're like in the middle of like a kind of a rough little romantic moment. Right. Yeah. And it freaked me out when I first saw it. I was like, whoa, her face just changed.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, very much so.
All right. What do we got next for him, my brother?
Well, my next one is the I-3, 2005.
Okay. So is it not this one?
It is the original. You have the original version of the Eye. There is a third one.
Oh.
The third one is literally friends, a group of friends from Hong Kong, go to this thrift store and find an old book. The old book is different ways to do things to see the dead. So one is used funeral clothes. and put cemetery dirt on your eyes. Or go out at night with your empty rice bowl and tap it with the chopsticks to attract the hungry ghosts. And you
Oh.
see all of this stuff throughout the entire film. It's very supernaturally unnerving film. But it's great. It's really great. And it's like the Jessica Alba kind of version stuff that we got here, of course, is like most of it. It's completely watered down from its source material.
You saw that with The Grudge, though, too.
You know, exactly. Yes, very much so. But with this, it's unnerving. It really
on
is.
Tubi, Lizzie says. I'll have to definitely check it out now. And as well as everybody out there in the Morgrad universe, here's some homework for you.
Oh yeah, no, it's quite unnerving, and they're trying to get through all of them without. If you mess up.
I feel like I've heard of this superstition that if you were to take graveyard dirt and rub it in your eyes, it would allow you to peer into the veil. I definitely think I have come across this in one of my necromancer books. You didn't hear that. Anyway,
I'm awake. I'm here.
It's one of those. It's one of those things in the occult that I'm fascinated with it, but will never do it.
Right.
Because let me tell you, that's a dark path.
Right.
I got enough ghouls following me. I don't need 100 more. Exactly. Boom. I love it.
Resemble that remark.
Yeah. I actually, when I was looking for the poster, I did see the Chinese versions. They had the posters there. So I was like, there might be something to this. And you just connected that dot.
Yes. The I3. Yeah. And it's that one specifically because of it's the friends adventuring, trying the different ways of seeing the ghosts. And you won't get disappointed.
No.
Now, if you want to get spooked out, it's going to spook you out. It will. It will.
It's like those fucking movies like Oculus and Ouija. When you get a couple of people together to do some fucked up shit, guess what? Fucked up shit's going to happen to you.
Well, yes, that's the other aspect of it is once you peer through the veil, how do you close it?
How do you close it, and how do you not come out of it without something attaching itself?
Exactly.
To you?
Yes.
And
that's definitely a film where you're pulled in with the group. You truly are. You start to feel for them very much so.
Yeah. Definitely.
Because what would you do in that scenario? It's you and your friends.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
definitely sounds awesome.
Yeah, it surprised me when I first saw it. It sleeper celled me. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, and it humbled me on a different way to do a ghost story. So I kudos. I think it's a great film.
Very imaginative.
Yes,
very imaginative.
Exactly.
I really dig that.
And I'll give it a 10 for creativity. Just for creativity.
What? And I of course take the great dead fellow's word for that. So I will agree, and I'm definitely going to watch it. And then talk about one of your all-time just downright creepiest damn thing you ever did see. I don't know about you, but I've always been a big believer in the inanimate objects, like anything from jewelry, someone's jewelry, to amulets or things that have been touched by the mark of negativity or evil, if you will. And definitely the fucking ventriloquist dolls. Those things have spooked me since I was wee little. And when I saw this movie, I was messed up. after I seen this thing. And of course, I am talking about the early 2000s Dead Silence. Ooh wee! What a hell of a film this was.
Oh, I agree. Doing the way that they did her as a spirit was to the point to me. She was more like a wraith,
Kind
like
of,
a revenant. You know, it was more than just ethereal. It's like she could be ethereal when she wanted to be, but when she wanted to be in your face, she was in your face, and she was a threat.
Yeah,
that I enjoyed, you know, and having the story behind it. Yeah, no, I think that's great.
Oh, the lore behind it was just amazing. Like her will was to be replaced, her parts to become one of those. She loved those ventriloquist dolls so much. And it was just mortifying seeing what she looked like. And when the mortician guy is going back to when he was a kid and his father was the one who had to do it, and he wanted to creep down there as a little boy to take a look, and her ass fell out of the casket when her mouth just I don't know about y'all, but that moment where the camera is just pulling back ever so slowly and just seeing her in the light of the moon. That is really the only light in that entire room. I thought it was just terrifying.
Oh, they did it amazingly. Oh, amazingly. Yeah, because there was nowhere for him to go. It's paralyzed with fear. And like I said, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're not supposed to be down there to begin with. He was gonna get it, and it's like, boy,
what's up, Austin?
That'll give me a heart attack.
Fuck yeah! He said those dolls.
And I'm a dead guy
for real. Exactly.
Would have started my heart back up. Start coughing moths everywhere.
But I mean, just a brilliant story.
Oh yes.
And they really had you. They had you the whole time, thinking his father is this bastard, and this kid goes back. It was for a funeral. So he goes back and, tries to make peace, all that shit. But he starts to find out little by little all this stuff about Mary, who was the ventriloquist that comes back to once she sought retribution on this poor little town. It fell apart. Her spirit infected the whole damn place. It starts falling apart. And there's barely anybody left. And I mean, his dad was a prick, man. He was really bad to his current wife. But at the end of the day, you find out.
People.
Ooh,
gotta watch how you treat people.
That's right, because Mary's spirit got into his wife, and I don't want to give that one away just in case some of you out there in the Morgrat universe have not seen this film. But if you want to be legit scared, and there is a bit of gore with this. It's kind of nasty.
Yes.
For a PG-13, horror film.
Yeah,
and I'm usually against PG-13 horror because nothing awesome ever fucking happens. I want to see a head roll. I want to see a head fall off. I want somebody's heart torn out of their chest. I want to see a zombie eat guts out of your fucking stomach. Paul Nita in the house. Look at you. Hell yeah. Welcome, my dude. We're counting down our top 10 list of the best ghost horror films of horror history. Oh, she says it's also on Tubi. Hell yeah. Thank you, Lizzie. She just knows she's in the know. She knows what's going on.
She knows a good dead fellow when she sees one.
Da da da. Shadaka. Austin says the Annabelle movies are pretty freaky too, but those movies are mostly jump scares.
True.
I was worried for a second that you were going to say that it was like one of the most terrifying films ever. Because
And the real Annabelle
be
doll was a
real.
ragtag doll.
Annabelle was a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
If it's one thing we've learned from the Conjuring universe, when they had gold in their hands, they fucked it up.
Well, also too, the Warrens will make up anything about ghosts they possibly can.
Exactly.
So that's the kind of problem on that one. But it's like with Annabelle, it went to a ventriloquist doll when it was a Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
So it's like you took away the aspect that made it creepy to begin with by trying to make it more creepy Hollywood style.
Well,
And I think some people enjoyed it for its parts, but I think it could have been scarier if you would have left it closer to the lore of the original story of the doll.
it's probably more terrifying that way, if you ask me. And then, of course, they completely dropped the ball with the Nun. That was like their Dark Knight in shining armor.
No, very much
could
so.
have been one of the biggest films fucking ever. And she's looming, but she's not going to do anything. Oh, she's looming. Oh, got her by the throat. Lets her go. Oh, she's thrust back into the ground. I'm like, come on, man. That's the best you had?
Right.
Oh, it could have been so much more diabolical and enjoyable, but they fucked it up.
Well, it's like with The Conjuring, they had the Crooked Man come out, and then they never did anything with him again. You know, and that was the guy they had playing him. It was been just about every creature that Doug Jones hasn't.
Yeah, that's so true.
Because they even did Crimson Peak together. He was the creature.
That was a good film.
He was also for the Demeter. Recently, he was
the Voyage of the Demeter.
That one.
Yep.
It's like he's been so many creatures, and for him being the Crooked Man was amazing. I don't know why they didn't.
That was terrifying.
Because it was a practical effect.
It was.
That's a suit. That's not CGI. He was like that, and is lengthy and everything, and was amazing. And they just
capitalized on it. Yeah.
Yep. They only showed him in that one scene, really, and then that was it.
Yeah, they probably could have done more with it. Austin says, yeah, but that scene was mostly what they considered good CGI too.
He's not wrong there.
Yeah.
You know, you take away the practical.
That's when it gets.
There can't be good VFX.
Yes.
Because there can be. But pepper them in when needed to your practical effects, and your horror will always feel more real.
Exactly.
More in your face.
Exactly.
You know?
Cannot agree with that more. All right. So that was my fourth one. So it's time for your crowning defining film here.
All righty. Mine would have to be Stir of Echoes, 1999.
Damn, what a fine film.
And also Kevin Bacon.
First of all, who doesn't like the Baconator? He is awesome.
I thought he did amazingly well in this movie.
Yes.
And for me, for this film, the reason for me it's so high up is, without giving anything away,
right,
you go from a non-believer, like a pure skeptic, to a believer, to I wish I wasn't a believer, to I've got to do something. And that's without giving away the story, but
sure,
you get to see aspects of Kevin Bacon that you usually don't get to see in other films he's done.
Oh, and that's for damn sure.
and other characters, supporting cast is really great too in the film. But it's also, there is a ghost story. There is a beginning, middle, and end to it. And in a lot of films, even if there is a ghost, you don't usually get what happened to them or why they're a ghost or something. Like they're just a background. Oh, this place is haunted or something like that. And this one is nothing like that at all.
Right.
It's a feeling. It's a person. It's a real being. They're not treated like, oh, it's just Casper.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about your average family, blue collar. living in this house. You know, he plays in a band. He's really fucking cool guy. And then just all of a sudden, you know, some things don't want to stay buried because they need their story told.
Exactly.
And this poor young lady, who I just think suffered. Oh man, you know, it was kind of heartbreaking.
Very much so. No, very much so. No, I agree with you completely on that.
I'm so happy that, I mean, you feel for this guy. Everyone's, you know, writing him off like he's gone off the deep end. He's off his rocker. This, that, the other thing. Bills are piling up. He's not going to work. All that shit. And like you said, they're sitting there just saying, you are fucking insane. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. And here he solves one of the biggest mysteries in their neighborhood of all time. And it was just brutal.
Yeah, right there in front of everybody the whole time, like hiding in plain sight. Kind of aspect. But he was the crazy one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Starting to see the truth. But it's like sometimes once that third eye is opened,
that's right.
You can't always filter what comes through it.
Nope.
And sometimes you got to face it.
It almost becomes your duty, like you as a seer. We've seen it in every freaking culture around the world. Every culture has had their seers, and they're the ones that are able to do these things. Just like there's mediums that help police solve, you know, some unsolved cases and shit. Some of that, not all of it. Don't get me wrong now.
Well, granted.
But, you know, some of that is actually pretty fucking legit. Like,
oh yeah, no,
they are so fucking tuned in that they can pick up on the energy and stuff like that. And it's not like the movies, folks. You know, Ghost just doesn't appear and you see it, you know exactly what it looks like, you can describe it. It's usually fucking shadows. Almost always shadows.
My experience with ghosts, they look like normal people until they disappeared in front of my face. So they didn't look ethereal. I didn't see through them. They look like everyday people. And then you blink and they're not there anymore. And there was no way for them to get away from me in the span of blinking my eyes.
Isn't that something?
So
I'll tell you how it is for me.
Seeing is believing.
I know everyone will be like, oh, Reaper's hearing voices. They speak to me. I'll hear my name by a different voice, and I can always discern, you know, what spirit it is. You know what I mean?
Well, you know,
have you ever had those moments where you're so, you know, things are pretty silent in the house. You don't have a TV on. You're sitting there working on something at your table, and all of a sudden you hear your name, and no one's awake.
Yeah.
Or no one's home.
See, I think part of that too, though, is when you're doing creative things.
Oh yeah.
Your mind is more open.
Yep.
And you'll receive signals that you would normally block out on the day-to-day.
And that's what happened to old Baconator there.
No, very much so. Very
in a major fucking way. And in this case, it was his sister that unlocked the door for him.
Yep.
Let's see. Austin says, with the exception of Ghost Hunter taps, they are the only ones I think fake their work for views. Other than them, that it is pretty legit. Those that are not seeking fame.
I agree. I'll agree on that. If it's not to where, oh, I need to be famous because I hunt ghosts, then you're not trying to actually seek out or help people with the paranormal or understand more of it. You're trying to get famous off of dead people.
Seriously. Originally, it all started because they just wanted to show proof that there is life beyond this realm. Okay.
Or get the answer for yourself so you don't feel like you're losing your mind. Because a lot of people, same thing with aliens. People will have an experience and then question their mind because the people they tell judge them for it.
Immediately.
Yes. Immediately. Yes, exactly. It's like everything, especially ghosts and things of the undead nature, things like that are taboo.
Extremely. But taboo. Yet, explain the concept of God. Suddenly you talk about that and it's, oh yes, the Holy Ghost exists.
True.
I love it. But anything that goes against the grain of what's acceptable, people always look and hate on each other for what they believe. That's why I've always said, what is someone's experience, what they have truly experienced, and it was real for them, then that's okay. They're not my experiences. All I can say is I'll listen and feel it out, kind of thing, and that's fine. What's real for one person is not real for another. It's the difference between whose switch is on and whose is off. It's not, there's no science.
It's not an attack. It's not an insult. It's
no,
just you may not be on the same wavelength at the same time. It happens.
I'm not calling you a liar. I just don't believe in ghosts. Oh, goodness.
No, I have personal knowledge that she's seen ghosts. She knows.
But that's usually how it goes, though.
But people that's true, exactly.
People will say, I it's not that I don't believe you, it's not that I don't trust you, and then suddenly, they're off in the corner using their cell phone.
I don't believe you, I don't trust you.
Yeah. Exactly. They're trying to call the paddy wagon.
Take me away.
Take them away. Take them to the hospital. They don't know shit.
I was Joan
man.
For my life.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yes.
So for my last one, and I feel so stupid because I somehow didn't get the slide in, whatever reason. StreamYard does its weird shit every now and again. I have to go with one that preys upon the sensibilities since, I would say, probably the dawn of civilization, really. The whole idea of the tooth fairy. Everyone has always believed that there's this magical little tooth fairy that comes along, put the fucking tooth under the pillow, and suddenly you have money, right? Well, in this particular film, going after the teeth for something else, a much more diabolical and very painful process. And this is one film that I think is super underrated. And the problem with that is that you had Dead Silence drop, then this one dropped, and then the Boogeyman dropped as well. And it was like, which one was cooler? I don't know, how to go about it, whatever. But damn it, Darkness Falls. Oh my goodness, I felt for those kids, man. They were being terrorized, and if you looked at her, they were dead. And in unspeakable ways. And the tooth fairy wasn't exactly a tooth fairy; it was a fucking witch. But a ghost, though.
Yeah, no,
she wasn't of the physical plane, and that's what made it that much more terrifying.
Yeah, because she can get you from any. You mess up once and you're got. That's it. There was no second chances.
Yep.
Well, it's the same kind of way with Mary Shaw, actually. Kind of a connection there.
Mary Shaw,
You messed up with her, and that was a one and done. I'm not going to give you warnings. I'm not going to give you a warning shot.
You're gonna become one of my dolls.
But I agree. Darkness Falls quite a bit. I think it's very underrated. I even a certain person in the attic section dressed up as that character for Halloween.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Awesome. Lizzie says, Mr. Deadfellow dressed me as that tooth fairy one year. You're right. Absolutely. Austin says, there are some people who have met the Grim Reaper and others don't believe them because, like you said, everyone has a different experience. Absolutely true. But hey, here I am. No.
I've died and come back.
I mean, I'm a little more stylish than I think the Grim Reaper is. I always have thought the idea of the Tooth Fairy was creepy. Yes. Like there's this little fucking, glue sniffer.
Breaks in your room at night and steals your children's used teeth.
Yeah. It's like, what are you going to do
and
with
pays them for them?
It's like, are you saving them for the next kids that are born? Is that how that works? You implant them over there? I mean, the whole idea was always kind of funny, but I mean, I always looked forward to it because I knew I was getting money.
Well, it's candy corn for next Halloween.
Or yeah, exactly. So I really feel like the imagery, the darkness, no, not to, put a pun in there, but let's be real. The film is very dark. There's not a lot of light. It's,
that bothers her. And I think that was smart on the end of the filmmaker for that.
Big time.
It's always lurking in the shadows.
Yeah.
No matter what it is. It could be a vampire, anything. It's always lurking in the shadows. But with her,
always lurking.
It was in the shadows for sure. And
you better have your fucking flashlight.
Yep, you better be ready to protect yourself, because if not, she's on you, instantly on you.
Welcome back, Trippy Mystic, who joined us for the first time last night. Hopefully you enjoyed our rantings and ramblings.
Glad to have you at the barbecue.
Welcome to the Horror Barbecue, man. One of another amazing show on our network. He says, howdy, y'all. I'm at work. Wanted to stop by and say what's up. And we appreciate you for that, brother. Most def. Woo! Honorable mention time.
Ooh. Okay. Well, this one for me isn't a film per se, but it can be watched as a film. But I have to mention Rose Red.
Oh yeah,
2000.
I remember that one.
It's all I gotta say, Stephen King, a haunted mansion that continually changes itself and has Julian Sands in it. Rest in peace.
Oh, one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh yes.
I said it in my interview last night because we were talking about spaghetti westerns and how I was just in down the Long River, and I had mentioned I would love to do a cowboy vampire film, much like Death Rider in the House of Vampires by Glenn Danzig, and that was Julian Sands' last performance, and he was fucking brilliant.
I don't think I ever saw a performance.
You know what? I will show it to you, brother. Don't you worry about that. We'll make it happen.
I don't think there is one that I have not enjoyed from the very first time I ever saw him in something.
Oh yeah,
the cast also for this put together, the lore, the family story, the effects.
Yes,
I gotta say Rose Red. That has to be mentioned for me.
For the same reason that one of my honorable mentions is 13 Ghosts.
Gotta be said.
I mean, you had the Tony Shalhoub monk, hello,
yep,
and fucking Galaxy Quest
and Wings.
He is just a great fucking actor, and to see him in the 13 Ghosts and the lore and the stories behind each of the ghosts that are trapped.
And the fact Abraham.
That makes this house work. The house it was built as a prison, and in order to bring back its benefactor, which was his uncle. So, and his uncle happened to be this big fucking warlock that he never knew about.
Yeah.
Of course, he was stupid rich too. So he was able to do all this shit.
Well, it doesn't hurt.
Oh man, the practical effects, the having them disappear at different points, flawless.
Having the ghosts on set with the actors, I thought was brilliant.
Big time.
And then you have people like, The Great Child, who did an absolutely amazing job. Every single one of the people that played one of those spirits knocked it out of the park.
Big time, yes.
Knocked it out of the park.
Woo, they were spooky. That witch,
I
think that witch that had the box on her head, oh man, she was horrifying. Lizzie says 13 Ghosts is so fun. We did that one year, Jackal and the Bound Woman. Definitely. Excellent choices. Don't forget about The Great Child. The Great Child was in there too. C. Ernst Harth.
Very
So
much so.
just every single one of those characters and the
Yep.
backstories. So many stories within a story. I love that film for that very reason.
Yep. Great one. Great choice. I would have to say for mine would be a documentary called Spooked, The Ghosts of Waverly Hills
Ooh.
in 2006. And it is a film crew that goes to film a horror movie at Waverly Hills Sanatorium. And
There's your first problem.
well, the history of the place and the hauntedness of it started to bleed in through their audio and started catching so much stuff on film and audio. They decided to make a movie about Waverly Hills instead. And it became an amazing documentary on the place called Spooked. And they even lead that into one called Children of the Grave, which is all these children that were from orphans and places and mass graves and stuff. And these places around them are haunted to the rafters because of horrible stuff, years and years and years happening. But it was just interesting to me to have like indie filmmakers go there to make a scary movie and then end up finding the story there is better than anything they could have written.
And sometimes that's just how it is.
And that's what it was for that one. And that one for me, I highly enjoyed it. And I'm one of those people that will watch all the paranormal shows and documentaries and you name it, because it's interested me since I was a child.
Absolutely.
Years ago. But it's one of those ones that definitely clicks that box for me.
Absolutely. I guess my last one, guys, there are so many. We don't have enough time to fill it.
Keep going.
Oh my goodness. We could go on forever. But one that I thought was very good and very mind-bending stars another major A-list star that you just never thought you would see in that type of role. And you go through the whole fucking thing not knowing who's alive and who's dead until the end. And, you got to love that type of shit. How a filmmaker, can kind of bend your mind in those ways. And I felt like this one delivered. And there was definitely a great story there as to what happened to this mother and her two kids. And it's called The Others.
Very much, yeah.
Back in 2001, Nicole Kidman. Ooh, what a thunk it!
I am your daughter.
No, exactly. No, I agree with you on that. Because you don't know exactly what kind of film you're watching.
Yep.
You have to watch the story to see it evolve.
That's the thing. I mean, it has you hooked. Because every time you think you have it figured out, they throw another turn at you.
See, and that one to me, it's not the same exact type of film, but it was in the vein of The Lady in Black.
Oh yeah,
like the old British kind of horror film, ghosts stories.
I enjoyed that one as well.
That was good too. Exactly. It's like
Harry
it's more
Potter.
than just do you hear something? Do you hear a knocking or something? But it's like, why do you hear that knocking? What plane of existence is that knocking coming from? There's so many different
aspects. We unlock.
Yeah, exactly. There were so many different
haunted
facets.
items.
Yeah, exactly. There were so many different facets to that. That wasn't just a normal ghost story that you would normally expect.
Oh, most deaf, man.
Yeah, there was so much detail to it that you wouldn't have expected in a normal film. A director wouldn't have normally done that unless they were trying to unnerve you and make you feel what the lady and the actress was feeling. Playing those parts and the confusion and everything. That was great. Yeah,
and I think it's brilliant. I mean, everyone that's probably ever watched The Clockwork Orange or Jacob's Ladder, those are also films that they twist and bend your fucking brain so bad. You're like, well, if I stop watching it, I'm never going to know or understand what the fuck is going on? And then
Jacob's Ladder,
sometimes you get an ending that doesn't make sense.
True.
Whew.
Or multiple endings.
Yes, multiple endings. Unholy fuck. I remember just the trailer for Jacob's Ladder. I thought it was a horror movie. You know, and here it was. It was just, you know, this crazy fucking psychotropic inside the mind of somebody who's just absolutely traumatized.
Yeah, well, they got Agent Oranged in Vietnam.
Yep.
And that was the effects of it, and didn't know what was happening. It was like the gates of hell were opening, and you're getting dragged in by your ankles as you're digging your fingers to the ground. Yeah, that movie was a trip.
Ooh,
Movie was a trip. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, so I will always say that that film was very, very well done.
Oh yeah,
and of course
nightmare fuel.
the lead actor, and of course it's horrible. I forget his name.
Tim Robbins.
But Tim Robbins, thank you. Fucking amazeballs, that guy.
Good old Shawshank.
Oh
Jacob's
man,
Ladder was even crazier to me. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very much so. Austin says it's the same thing with video games. You do the same thing over and over again. You get bored, then put a story in it. Boom. No time to get bored, and you get hooked on the story and want to beat the game. Yes, it's the same hook, line, and sinker.
Oh, exactly. And I can even mention a ghost game called The Suffering.
Oh, yes.
Where you're in a prison and you see all these manifestations of all the lethal injection, gas chamber, electric chair, and you see these physical monsters, ghosts that are manifestations of all this violence that had happened in the prison throughout the game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game. They turned it into a movie.
Yeah, there's a current horror anthology game that if y'all haven't played it, if you love horror games and it plays just like a movie and you have to like do the action to get through to the next steps, I definitely recommend the Dark Anthology. And unfortunately, the guy who played the curator, just a phenomenal fucking voice actor, British guy, just passed away before they could make the next game. I actually hope that he had already sent in his speaking parts, because he's really what makes the game. Like you'll finish a spot, and then the next thing you know, you're dragged right back into his library, and he's either giving you the third degree, or he's congratulating you, or basically saying, coming up, you're fucked, in a very British way. I would definitely recommend, if you have a PS5, play this shit. It's so good. There's 4 of them. One of them's a serial killer. Another one is a demon that is brought up during the Iraq War. Yeah, that one's heavy. Let me tell you, fucking heavy. Great, like a creature feature style kind of film. And then, of course, there's an elaborate ghost story where this guy is a bus driver, and he's got a bus full of students, and they break down in this town, and they can't get out of it.
Ooh, nice.
But by the end of it, though, you find out that this ghost town basically has a very, very dark secret, and he doesn't realize that everyone died when the bus wrecked.
Ooh, uh-oh.
So each one of their ghosts were going into him as he was going around trying to solve the mystery of what the fuck happened to this town. Dude, you'd love it, Dead Fellow. Yeah. You would absolutely fucking love it. Oh, dude, I play that one too. Called The Quarry. That's another favorite of mine.
Quarry.
Oh, yeah. So good.
Had to. Ted Raimi.
It's like
one of our boys.
Ghost stories literally can grip you on, we just proved it, on every medium, whether it was a story told by the campfire, right? Or You've seen it in a film. You've read it in a book. Hopefully, there's still readers out there like myself that enjoy a good ghost story in a novel. And then now you have these epic fucking horror games that are based on ghost stories. So literally this part of the horror genre, I think, is just as important as any creature we've ever encountered.
Very much so. Very impactful, and has been around longer than the genre itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we have just merely skimmed the surface of these films. Literally. You don't want to lose one's head when trying to sift through all these phenomenal ghost films. Definitely, please go check them out if you haven't seen them. If you have seen it, shit, it's October. I mean, it's Halloween for us 24/7, 365. But for y'all, you might want to add this to your viewing pleasure throughout the greatest month of the year. We thank you guys so much for showing up tonight. And literally, we've been hitting you with show after show after show for 4 days straight, and y'all have not disappointed. We love you, the viewers out there. You are absolutely fucking amazeballs. And what a great reception for the newest addition to the Horror Barbecue, Mortimer Deadfellow. Live and in the flesh, or is he? I don't know. But until next time, y'all, I know tomorrow has the Monday woes, but maybe curl up with a nice, ghastly, ghostly story of any type. And if you happen to run into one of these ethereal beings, just let them know to stay heavy.
Thank you for joining us on Rebirth Underground. Stay tuned for more from Morgue Rot Entertainment in association with Black Flame Entertainment.